Hi everyone, welcome to the channel and my name is Manish Tiwari. So today we are going to talk about subnet and we will understand how subnet works and what is the difference between the different kind of subnets. So whenever you talk about the AWS cloud, you talk about the AWS VPC and you also talk about the different kind of subnets. And one of the most important question what you encounter during the interview that what kind of subnets have you created, correct? So we will try to understand what kind of subnets are available there and which kind of subnet you can create and you can work on and what's the basic difference between different kind of subnets which you can create. So we are going to understand all these concepts in this particular video and we are going to talk about the VPC, the concept of the subnet, everything, correct? So now, so now I'll be creating one VPC here. I'm just going with the theory part first here. What I will do, I will create one VPC and then I'm going to create two subnets out of that. And then we will see the configurational detail, what kind of configurational details can be there and how it can be differentiated, correct? So let me call it as a demo VPC. I'm just going to create one VPC that will be called as 10.0.0 slash, sorry, dot 0 slash 16. That's your demo VPC. Here what I have done, I have created just a single VPC. Now, if you see the CIDR what I have passed, it's 10.00 slash 16. That means you are going to have some IP address range within your VPC. That is calculated based on certain formula that is like 32 minus whatever the number you do have after the forward slash. You do 32 minus 16 and that becomes your 2 to the power that value. So it becomes 2 to the power 16. So that number of IP address range you are going to have. So now you have one VPC virtual private cloud. Between this virtual private cloud, what you are going to do, you are going to create different kind of subnets. Where can you utilize this subnet? This subnet can be utilized to launch your public application. That means internet facing application. The subnet can be utilized to host your databases. That means we are going to talk about private subnet. And when we are talking about the subnets, we are going to talk about subset of the VPC. That means if I have 1000 number of IP address within this VPC, I'm going to allocate this 1000 number of VPC to the different blocks. That means I'm going to create 10 blocks out of 10 blocks I'm going to assign 100 IP address to one block, second like the 100 to 200 IP address range to second block and so on 900 to 1000 number of IP address range to the 10th block. So this way we are going to create subnet, the segregation of the IP address range, the logical isolation, logical separation of the IP address range within the VPC. That is your subnet. So we are going to create two subnets here. So I will get into the subnet section. I will click on create subnet and I'm going to create two subnet here. One I will be calling it as a public and one I will be calling it as a private. So I'm just selecting the VPC within which we have to create the subnet. So here I will be passing the name public subnet. I'm just passing the name. Name never implies that or never indicates that it's a public or private. I'm just going to give the name public subnet 1 and availability zone. I will be selecting, you can select anyone according to your preference. Within this episode 1, there are 3 availability zones. And with the multiple availability zone, you can make your application highly available. Correct? So I'll be selecting episode 1 and here for the subnet, we have to pass the CIDR block within this VPC CIDR only. So what I will do, I will pass the CIDR within VPC only 10.0.1.0 slash 24. That becomes 256 number of IP address here if you can see. So it is going to create 256 number of IP address for this particular subnet which will be called as public subnet 1. It's not public right now. I will be creating one more subnet and for that I will be giving the name as private subnet hyphen 1 and once again I will be giving the availability zone as episode 1A. Correct? Here in the CIDR once again I will pass it from the VPC CIDR only 10.0.2.0 slash 24. Once again 2256 IP address and the CIDR of VPC is 10.00 slash 16. For the first subnet I have passed 10.0.1.0 slash 24. For the second I have passed 10.0.202.0 slash 24. So this way we are going to create the subnet. Now two subnet has been created. One is called as public, second one is called as private. Till this point, there is nothing called as public, there is nothing called as private. It's just the name what I have passed, public subnet or private subnet. Correct. But if you talk about like which subnet can be public, which subnet can be private, like how can we differentiate whether it's private or public? We have to get into the deeper. Correct. We have to understand it more. So now let's get into the route table. We will create two route table. How your traffic flows? Your traffic flows from VPC to the route tables and from the route table to the subnet. Like it's just high level overview of network flow. Correct. So I will be creating one route table here, and that route table I will be calling as public route. Correct. So where you want to create this route table? So for that I am selecting the demo VPC. I will click on the create route table and your route table has been created. Now I will be creating one more route table, and for that I will be giving the name as private route table. So let me call it as a private route. Till this point we are just passing the name public and private. We are not passing anything else. So I'll be clicking on this route table, private route table and public route table and private route table. We do have two number of route tables here. Now let's get into the public route table. What are all the options available in this? So let's see on that. So here we do have the option to subnet association, correct? Do the subnet association. I will get into this subnet association, and what I will do, I will click on explicit subnet association. I will click on the edit subnet, correct? I will just remove it. I will edit subnet association and I will select the public subnet one. Why I have selected the public subnet one? Because I have kept the name public route table. So in the public route table, I will be selecting this public subnet one. Till this point your subnet is not public, it's not private, it's just a subnet, and that subnet is a kind of private subnet. The moment you do not have the internet association, it is called as private one. So right now it's just a subnet. The public subnet 1 and private subnet 1 both are kind of same subnet. Now let's get into the route table, which one is called as private route. Here also we have the option to do the subnet association. I will get into edit. I will select the private subnet one. Till now, there is no difference. All the configuration is same. We created VPC, we created two subnets. In the same way, we created two route table in the same way. What kind of differentiation we have done? In the public route table, I have attached the public subnet. In the private route table, I have attached the subnet which is named with the private subnet one. But what are all other configuration rather than the name, correct? We have just kept the different name. There is no other basic difference. Now, we will be talking about the differentiating point, what differentiate the subnet from private and public. Now we will be creating one internet gateway. Here I will be creating one demo IGW. Demo internet gateway has been created. Now this internet gateway is not attached to any VPC. It is just created. And this internet gateway has the property, or it has the feature to provide the internet access to your VPC to the resources which are part of VPC. So now we will attach this demo IGW to some VPC. And which VPC? Obviously, where we are going to do the demo. So I'll be attaching this internet gateway to the VPC demo IGW. So your internet gateway is now part of VPC. It is attached with the demo VPC, correct? So up to here, you have created one facility for the internet gateway. You have created one VPC. You have created two route table, two subnets here, two route table, and one internet gateway. These four resources you have created. Till now, there is no differentiation between which subnet can be private, which subnet can be public one. Now, the difference will come here. In the route table, public route table, what I will do, I will just say that click on edit routes, add route, and here you pass the 00, and here you select the internet gateway and the internet gateway what we have just created. Save the changes. What we have done through this internet gateway connectivity, what we are going to talk about, I will open this route table once again in the different section. Here in the route table, what I am going to tell that if none of the below rule matches, you should focus on this 000 as well. So this particular 000 says that if none of the rule which is below in this route table matches, this will redirect the traffic to the component which is mapped against this 00. So this 00 simply says that none of the below rule which is marked here or which is configured here is matching with the request, with the traffic which is coming, correct? So then traffic will be routed to the internet gateway because this IGW is mapped with the 00. So now this route table has the connectivity of the internet gateway. And the moment your route table has the connectivity with the internet gateway, your subnet is, which is public subnet 1, has the association with the route table, and this route table has the access to the internet gateway. This is how your any of the subnet becomes public subnet. And if you get into this private route now, in private route, we have this private subnet 1 named as private subnet 1. Till now, it's not private or public, correct? It's just a subnet. Here in the routes, or you can say it's a private subnet. Here in the routes, we haven't configured internet gateway till now. So what has happened here? All the subnets which are part of public route, that has become public subnet. Why? Because it has the association with the internet gateway. While in this route table, the subnets which are associated does not have internet gateway connectivity, because route table does not have any entry for the internet gateway. So all the subnets which are part of this route table, the private route table, that becomes private subnet. And all the subnets which are associated with this route table has been become public subnet. Why? Because there is internet gateway association. So this is how you differentiate which subnet can be public, which subnet can be private. And all the servers which will be launched within this subnet, all those server will be called as public server, and all those server which will be launched in your private subnet, all those will be called as private server. So if you get into one of the AWS EC2 instance, what I have already created, and if you see, all EC2 instances are created in the part of like within some networking section, within your some VPC, within your some subnet details, correct? So if that subnet has association with the route table which has the entry with the internet gateway, that subnet becomes your route. That subnet becomes your public subnet, and that server which is part of public subnet, that server itself becomes public server. And if the server which is launched is the part of private subnet, and that does not have entry with the like internet gateway, that server will become your private server. So this is the basic difference between your private subnet, public subnet. If it is attached with the internet gateway, that becomes your public. If it is not attached, or it does not have any correlation with the internet, then it becomes private subnet. So this is how you can do it. In general, we create either public or the private. You can give the different name like database subnet, the lambda subnet, the API gateway subnet, the any other subnet, correct? According to your use case. But in general, there is public subnet and private subnet what you utilize most of the time. So in this particular video, I just wanted to talk about all these things. We will meet in the next video. Till the time, thank you. Bye bye. Keep watching. And if you have any question, if you have any like concern about the training, you want the DevOps training, you want interview preparation, you want to join interview preparation bootcamp, like you have your interview scheduled and you want to prepare yourself for the interview, feel free to drop a WhatsApp message on the number which is provided in the description. And we are here to help you. We are here to help you with your dream job, correct? So do inquiry and keep learning. Let's meet in the next video. Till the time, thank you. Bye bye.